on life as well.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about sort of work in a general sense now. Joining us now is activist and writer Penny Pepper, morning. Businesswoman Anne-Marie Imafidon, morning. And a businesswoman Joy Parkinson, who employs 45 people in a cosmetics firm. Morning all. Thank you so much for joining us. The reason we're talking about this is 100 years since the first women got the vote, but, you know, some people would say there's still work to be done in many areas. Penny, what would your thoughts be?
For disabled women, I think that by and large we're still an afterthought. We're very much a secondary issue in even in government thought, actually. I believe there's a statistic that of the disabled population, there's a higher number of women, and disabled women that are in employment are paid 22% less than non-disabled women. So you can see we're on that scale. And speaking personally, I've had tremendous barriers to work, partly because work can be so inflexible, which I think a lot of women have experienced. I've now been self-employed for 9 years, and I'm very trying to own that pride that I've managed that. But even in terms, I'm a writer, an author, a poet, even in terms of society being open to that experience has been difficult. So it's taken me a long time to get to that point. And we're still fighting to have our stories heard. Yeah. So we're getting there.
Yeah, which is really important, isn't it? It's about the changes that can be made, the progress. And Joy, for you obviously run a company, you're employing people. Do you see things changing then? Do you think it's getting easier?
I mean, my experience in work has been, there's been a huge amount of flexibility, both when I worked for McVitie's, but also even more working at Faith in Nature now in terms of the flexibility that my employers have given me, because I work, but I'm a mum first and foremost. So I've got 3 children, 11, 12 and 13. And at different times in my career, I've sort of gone down to working 3 days a week, 4 days a week. I've done project roles rather than sort of full-on management roles. And I've been given a massive amount of flexibility, as I know have a number of sort of friends and colleagues of mine.
It's amazing how many women mention flexibility as the thing that's the barrier, and that's what needs to change. Anne-Marie, what are your thoughts on that? Is flexibility something that you think is important?
So flexibility is very important. I think it's important for everyone, though, so not just for the women, but for everyone to be able to have that work-life balance, which I think we're not the best at in the UK. But for me, coming from a technology background, I'm really proud of how technology has empowered people to be able to work more flexibly and to work from different places and work at distance. But even more so, those opportunities that you have in this new industry, it's kind of grown as much as is possible with that flexibility built in.
And I know one of your things is to really encourage girls particularly. I mean, I'm just looking at your qualifications. You speak 5 languages fluently?
I did, yeah.
You probably still do. You're one of Oxford University's youngest graduates. You received your master's degree at the age of 20, passed A-level computing age 11. So you are beyond super qualified. Have you found barriers that you've had to struggle against?
So for me, I mean, it's interesting. So even having that bio, there are still things about me that you could discriminate against me for being. So young, black, a woman from East London, loving Nando's, all that kind of thing. So for me, the barriers are something, it's just an extra thing that I have to work through. And whether that's someone doubting my technical ability to solve whatever problem is at hand, or, my experience because I'm a little bit younger, for me, it's their loss rather than my loss, and that's always how I go into that scenario. And if you don't want to value me in this situation, well, I'm going to go somewhere else where I will be valued and where I'll be celebrated rather than just being tolerated.
Yeah. And Joy, in your business, what do you do to make sure women are supported? Because I was talking to Mary Portis about this, about her company, and she was saying what she realised is she actually was too masculine as a manager in her business, and she's had to tell herself, oh, hang on, I'm doing what I hate. I need to make sure we really support the women in the business. Have you ever felt that?
I mean, I talk a lot about my home life and my children and my dog at work. I think, demonstrating that you're human, it's difficult juggling it and, talking about the challenges of not missing an assembly, but therefore, if I leave work early sometimes so I can go to sports day, I'll do my emails at 11 o'clock at night. And so, but I think to be open about the fact that it isn't easy and you're juggling it, that the team, you know, can sort of empathise with that. And also, if people want support themselves to be more flexible, then to give that.
Oh, I just want to pick up, Penny, with one of the things that Anne-Marie said, which I was really sort of struck by. What was it? Celebrated rather than tolerated. Do you think all of us, and that includes everybody who's watching, male, female, that's a kind of message, a really clear message, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think we need to own that ourselves, feel comfortable with celebrating, and allow the sort of human family, the experience, to broaden. I mean, I keep banging on about it really, but we need more stories told. That's what I feel. And
More role models.
Yeah, role models. I very quickly got to mention my lovely friend Liz Carr, who's in Silent Witness.
Last night.
And I was privileged to write about her in that role, and why I hope it was a watershed moment last week. We need more stories that represent and celebrate the whole of who we are. And all women support all women.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I went to bed late last night, because I was watching her on Silent Witness, so she's fabulous.
Absolutely. And she's very lovely.
You were as well.
Hello, Liz.
Oh, well, listen, thank you very much all for joining us. It's a really interesting discussion. We could carry on, but we're just going to stop briefly to speak to Carol.
Yes, we are. We're going to join Carol, who's in the House of Commons this morning, obviously crucial given the day it is.